Why is the cost of living rising to such a degree even though corporations are making record profits? I fail to see the incentive to carry on in many areas of life when the world is going this way. Look, the point is that no matter how shitty the options are, the only person who is going to make your life better is you. It isn't fair, it is cruel, and the world is full of assholes and injustice. It has always been this way. Times have gotten good and times have gotten bad. No matter what the trends are, you just need to find one tiny window to squeeze through for yourself and your family. You don't need the whole world to change to find this window. After that, spend your resources advocating for change in whatever capacity you have. Suffering is guaranteed in life. You can suffer passively while the world rolls over you, or you can choose a lesser form of suffering that has a chance to bring some joy. It's up to you. What's the point? Well, I'd certainly rather suffer less. I'd suggest reading Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. What I really find fascinating is the number of individuals that will continue to purchase items at the inflated price. Why do we as consumers feel the need to continue to act like victims? It is our choice to keep paying that price. It also sends a signal to the companies that individuals are willing to keep buying. Do we really need anything but the most basic foods to survive? Do we really need to purchase the brownies to have sustainable nutrition? Regardless of the answer or excuse, everyone could send a message with their wallet. Most will try to make up some justification, excuse, and continue to complain. Just stop buying and see how long the companies continue to profit. Oh, but I will be unhappy. If you are not dying of starvation, you will survive. Change is never without sacrifice. Excuses are just band-aids for those unwilling to really make the sacrifices. Capitalism drives labor cost and material cost to zero while driving profit up as much as possible. If the seller can sell a brownies for $1 million, he would, provided there is a buyer. I am not saying this is right or wrong. It is just how the market works. Until everyone has everything they ever need, there will always be a supply and demand. If a manufacturing process requires labor, then the owner of the goods will have to negotiate the cost of labor. This is the only bargaining chip labor has. And if the labor don't unite, they will not have any ability to bargain. This is a major reason why owners want to automate manufacturing processes so they can remove as much labor as possible. Remember, just about any labor can be replaced by robot. And with the advent of AI, many white-collar jobs are also being displaced. Even some creative works are at risk. I mean, you're not wrong that it's backwards and insane, but this is what late-stage capitalism looks like. Things might get temporarily better with reforms, but the driving force of capitalism is always going to be towards more and more wealth being concentrated into the hands of a smaller and smaller elite. It's going to keep going in this general direction until we fundamentally reshape our economic system. The good news is that this system is ultimately unsustainable, and if we don't abandon capitalism soon enough, it will just collapse under its own weight anyway and give way to something else. With climate catastrophe on the horizon, it's looking like that'll be sooner rather than later, albeit still probably not in our lifetimes. Sometime next century, I'd guess. In Britain, the incentive to turn a profit outstripped the practicality of maintenance of it. In a lot of ways we are no longer capitalist. In Britain, farmers found that they could turn a profit selling excess food. This incentivized farmers north of other farms to dam up rivers. Enclosure. It turned farm owners into employees and other farm workers to move to cities to mine smelt etc. Then that profit motive persisted. We saw this during the Depression with the farming sector. Farmers knew how to farm, but the incentive for profit exacerbated the tragedy of the commons. The wealthy will always be insulated, so they have no incentive to change. The only fix is unionization, a monopolization of labor to reclaim the monopolization of capital. Cost of living is biased based on where you live. Coastal cities have higher cost of living but also higher general pay to the public. And technical jobs pay a buttload. And as technology increases, the demand for technical proficiencies is rising. The demand for general workers is going down and becoming automated, so there's less money flowing to those. Too many people blame it on corporate greed, but if you were in their shoes you'd be doing the same thing. And on top of it, inflation is rising massively in the US at least. Corporations, especially major one, don't give raises till the end of the fiscal year. Your McDonald's job won't cut it for you in the long run. Technical schools are very, very cheap. You can easily break that six-figure roof if you go to them. I'm not sure which corporations are making record profits, but the bakery that you referred to is probably not a corporation. Make sure to know the difference between who is making the money and who is raising the prices. Remember that although the amount of money that companies are making might be higher, it may not have the same value because of inflation. $100 will buy a lot less today than it did 20 or 30 years ago. I might make twice as much as I did last year, but if inflation has more than doubled expenses, then I'm not actually making more money, in terms of purchasing power/value. Also, check your sources to be sure the information is correct and not being spun in a certain direction. How do I tell my roommate that I don't want them using my exercise bike? Do you really think they are going to break your bike? Weight limits don't necessarily mean that the bike is going to break if you put 251 pounds on it. Ladders, for example, often have a 250 pounds weight limit. In reality, those ladders can easily hold 500 pounds. It just means the company can't be held liable if a 500 pounds man breaks the ladder. Maybe consider just telling them how you feel, sort of. You could just tell them how much you paid for the bike, and tell them you try to take really good care of it. Ask that they please respect that, and try to take good care of it. If it breaks for whatever reason, you will kindly ask them to help you buy a new one. We had friends over for dinner on the patio and I guided my larger friend to the double love seat, which had great back support. Note past tense, because in the middle of the meal it suddenly collapsed. The boards of the seat just all gave way and broke. She was so embarrassed. The only way out was for me to act even more embarrassed and suddenly declare evidence of termites. OMG, how did I not notice this? I am so sorry. We got her a different chair from inside the house. Fortunately she was not injured, but she could have been. Moved the seat scraps away and went on as though nothing had happened. So do not let this happen. Better safe and tactful than sorry and potentially injured and without a bike/love seat. If you're trying to keep drama minimal, and save their feelings while also getting them off your bike, I'd find a used cheap one on Marketplace and give it to them. I have no issue setting boundaries whatsoever, but I'm also pragmatic where I will not risk a bunch of BS over $50. I'm not suggesting a top tier one, just a functional non-gross one. I'm a big guy. I myself wouldn't feel slighted by someone saying this to me. However, I'm not neurotypical and frankly some NTs are dramatic about strange stuff. I'd rather spend a few bucks and come off as supportive than come off as a dick. I'm actually going to say no, because this bike has a weight limit of 250 pounds, and you've mentioned weighing closer to 300. When you lose enough weight to use my bike safely, we can revisit this. Keep in mind exceeding the weight limit on your bike, or anything, really, might make your roommate feel ashamed or embarrassed, but those are their feelings to own and manage. They are not your responsibility. As long as you exercise a reasonable amount of tact and compassion when delivering this decision and the information backing it up, you'll be in the clear. I was 340 pounds when I started my weight loss journey, and I have a great exercise bike with a 400 pounds weight limit that I got on Amazon for pretty cheap, like $200. It was a big purchase for me, but I knew if I actually used it regularly it would pay for itself. Here is the link: https://www.amazon.com/exerputic gold foldable upright bike /DP/BO14VX254A. PD_RD_W equals 4MZG1 and content it equals Amazon 1.sim.8C981E0658796907C3B3FBB9A6 and PF_RD_P equals 8C981E065874BCC996907C3B3FBB9A6 and PF_RD_R equals 47RBXHK51S357S66X0 and PD_RD_WG equals S8MIM and PD_RD_R equals 7D22Sec74C7D4D7298 say CAE1E4FBO2B5 and PD_RD_I equals BO14VX254A and PSC equals 1 and ref_ equals PD_BASP_BIA_RPT_BA_S_1_SC. It's nothing fancy, but honestly it's the nicest gift I've ever gotten for myself, and knowing that I'm alone in my own room using my own equipment if I break it is really nice. Emo along with the good advice of the other comments, trying to make that his goal, getting light enough to use your bike, and try to encourage him by framing it as something both of you are trying to do to support both of yourselves. Recently my 300+ pounds friend made a similar journey, although it's a little different in his case than most because he's always been strong-willed, somewhat more muscular, and consistent in life. I don't think I've ever doubted him to do it, but he's now down an absurd amount in less than a year. Hey, super stoked you want to get in better shape. Thing is, I'm concerned that the bike has a recommended limit of 250 and for now, you'll be able exceeding that. Just wanted to let you know so if you continue riding it, and it breaks, you'll be replacing it, and of course, it will still be mine and Appa's. Certainly, if you're not riding it, it won't be an issue. Cool ? And quat. Or, please don't ride my exercise bike. Thanks ! And quat. The way I'd go about it is basically to say I know using the bike will be helpful for you on your weight loss journey, but right now I don't think it's safe for you to do so as the safety limit for the bike is 250. I'd be happy to let you use it once it's safe to do so, but currently I don't think it's a good idea. And quat. Trying not to confront someone or say it's something wrong with the person, as in, you're too heavy, I'm scared you will break it, is a pretty good way to deal with an uncomfortable topic from my experience. My mom's boyfriend keeps asking if I'm lesbian. Is this odd? I have a stepdaughter who's openly lesbian, and I still don't ask her about it. If she wants to volunteer something, that's her right, but it's not my place to dig. That's such a sensitive topic that any queries about it should be handled by her biological parents. She mostly talks to her mother about it. I'm here as an addition, not a replacement. Your mom's boyfriend is overstepping, and you have no obligation to answer him. Set boundaries, and tell him it's not something you feel comfortable discussing with him, or that you'd rather talk to someone else in the family you're more familiar with. Super creepy. None of his business. You do not have to have your life figured out at 18. Your life will change over time, priorities will change, you will grow. Keep a growth mindset, not that you always have to grow. Wallowing is healthy, too. Be informed and intentional in your decision making, have a plan for the future, but also be open to change. Have fun along the way. Stay away from the creep. Tell your mom, I feel uncomfortable when boyfriend asks me about / tells me about, etc. Stay strong. You have an amazing life ahead of you. It's honest research for his spank bank. Tell your mom what he's doing and that it's creeping you out. Then straight up tell him that he does not have permission to comment ever again because it's creeping you out. Do not be afraid to make a scene. You fortunately, in many cases, causing a scene is the only thing that's going to stop a would-be creep. Make it sure in no uncertain terms that if he does it again you'll call him out as a creepo. He'll probably try to say that he was just being friendly or trying to get to know you better. And quat. It doesn't matter, really. Hammer the point that he creeped you out. He isn't a creep, is he? Of course not. So he will stop, because know that you've told him clearly, the only reason he'd do it again is that he's a creep who gets off on it. I'm confused why you mention that you haven't been in an open relationship. But is this something you've come to believe is a normal part of growing up or something? You, I think it's a great way to be, but I don't know how great it is as an aspirational thing for a teen. When both he and your mom are around, ask your mom, do you think it's weird and creepy for someone's stepdad to ask if they're a lesbian constantly ? And quat. Mention all the very specific creepy stuff he's asking you and you'll get to see what her reaction to it is. Hopefully she'll respond with that's extremely weird and creepy and gross, and he'll bugger off and leave you alone. Super creepy red flags. As someone who had a predatory stepdad where bad things happened, please be careful. Don't discuss these topics with him and tell your mom or another trusted adult. If I found out my BF was doing this to my daughter, he'd get the boot immediately. He is definitely trying to assert his dominance here and trying to make you feel insecure and take advantage of you. Record that shit and tell your mom. It around, ask him. You've asked me this several times. It must be very important to you. Are you thinking you've got a chance with your girlfriend's daughter? You still don't have to answer his question, though. Turn. Pie on a major scale. Talking about sexuality as a parent so is wildly inappropriate. It's okay for you to disengage and change the subject or whatever. Asking about one's sexuality regardless of age is inappropriate. The age difference is especially creepy. Wait, where is the low-key creepy part? I read it twice but I absolutely cannot find anything low-key described. Creepy AF. Next time he starts start recording or filming and ask him why he's so interested and why he keeps asking. Then show your mom. Yep. Creepy, especially if he's asking when your mom isn't around. A polite if I need advice on this I'll talk to my mother. And quat. Might shut him down. Yeah, that's creepy. I would start trolling him. Just start making up weirder and weirder sexualities. This guy is dangerous. Get a recording and show your mom. I'd also personally go so far as to report him to police. You are wrong. This is not low-level creepy, it's as high level as it gets. Do not be around him alone. On the worst end they're a predator. At best they're a creepy invasive asshole. Get them out. That's not really any of your business. Rick, did you pick up milk like mom asked ? And quat. Hopefully it's not because he's sexually interested in you. I'd say just tell him to mind his own business. WTF. Huge red flags, creepy as shit.